Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I'm back to post a quick video here. This is going to be a video response to Farley. Farley Retro's Man Cave is the actual channel name. This is his 325 subscribers contest. I was actually watching a video last night. I believe John had done a response to it, and I kind of followed it back and found your contest video. So I wanted to make sure I stopped by to say, number one, congratulations, hitting the 325. You know, great guy, great asset to the VC. Really kind of, one of those laid back, chill kind of guys. You can kind of talk to about anything, talk about any subjects or whatever else. Just kind of a really mellow, laid back kind of guy, which is always a good person to have, whether it's in the VC or co-workers or friendships or whatever, to have that kind of person around. So yeah, man, congratulations on the 325 subs. Great to have you in the VC, and definitely wanted to pay my respects and do a response video. Sorry, I'm trying to see in the camera here, the lighting's not all that great, but we'll work on it. It's about the music and not my mug. So yeah, it was basically called 3 scenarios and then 1 bonus question, I think. So let me just kind of jump right in. First question was, or the first scenario is, okay, you've been training for all these years, and you've bulked up, you've gotten your jiu-jitsu skills down and your boxing and everything else, and now you're going to make your debut in the UFC. What is the song that you're going to come out to the octagon to? It's probably not going to be the song that's playing in the background right now, which is Dancing Queen by ABBA, even though I love that song. So what song would you use? And obviously for those of us that are hard rock and metal fans, there's a lot of different kind of aggressive, pump up kind of songs we could choose from. But the one that came to mind for me is the one I have on vinyl, is on this album here, and it would be the song "Ecstasy of Gold" by, not by Metallica, but that Metallica uses. That's the song that they come out to with all their concerts and everything else, and I think it's absolutely great. The easiest way I found to describe that song and why I would use it myself is, I've always said that if Jesus Christ himself were to come back to earth in the flesh and was going to, give this sermon of all sermons to the entire world, and it was going to be, televised everywhere and blah, 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 and they were setting up the stage and everything for him to come out and speak, "Ecstasy of Gold" would be the song they would play as he came out. That's how grand I think that song is. Just when it kicks in, it's just it just gives this feeling that something magnificent and powerful is about to happen. It's almost like something you might hear if you were watching a medieval movie where you had these 2 huge armies about to clash, and right before the battle starts and they're staring each other down. It's the type of song that we're building up to that. And so yeah, that's kind of what I would use, just because it's just so epic, and again, it just always screams like something amazing is about to happen. And that's one of my favorite parts about seeing Metallica live, actually. I mean, it's just that moment when the lights go out and then that song kicks in. There's usually some smoke machines and everything, and that song kicks in, and you're just like, holy cow. So that's what I would probably use. Moving right along, scenario 2. Okay, you're dying, about to, you're doing your last will and testament, all that good stuff, and you want to put in there a song that you want to have played at your funeral. I picked out 2. There's actually 3 choices I could have for that. The first one I would pick, and the way I kind of thought about this more so because, most of my probably friends and family and everything, they're not into the same type of music that I am, at least they're not as much, and so most of my picks here are really more so about, if I were just in my, spirit form, sitting in the back watching this funeral, what would I, want to see or kind of experience. or maybe I have like a wife or something like that that's sitting in the front row, and you know, what music would I want to have playing and make her really connect with me and my memory and all that kind of thing. Maybe that's kind of how I chose my songs there. So with that being my viewpoint, the first song that I would go with is off of the album Junip, and it is the song After All Is Said and Done. I really, really love that song. I mean, I was actually listening to it night before last, oddly enough. But it's just a really cool song. It's so kind of mellow, ghostly, and you know, it kind of floats. So it kind of almost like exists on a spiritual type of plane, as well as like this really soft kind of synth thing that goes with it. I don't know. It's just one of those songs that every time I hear it, it's just something very spiritual about it, if you will. And yeah, you know, if I was sitting back kind of watching my funeral and I saw, you know, loved ones that left behind, or like I said, my wife or whoever that was sitting there, and to think that they would be listening to that song and connecting with me and, you know, my memory and everything else, that'd be pretty powerful to me. So that's definitely a song that I would choose. Another song just to kind of throw in as somewhat of a, I guess, honorable mention, if you will, be off of this album. I haven't switched the sleeve over yet. Be off of this album here, which is Mogwai, A Hardcore Will Never Die, But You Will. You know, already a good title to go with the theme of the question. But the song Letters to the Metro is what I would choose off of this album. And I've actually said this in a past video. You know, that's the type of song that, again, just the feeling that it brings to me, that if I were to die and let's say my soul was ascending to heaven, and you were fortunate enough to be ascending to heaven, that's the song that I would envision hearing played in the background as I'm making that ascent. You know, it's just that there's something about it, just like that Junip song, this kind of spiritual, floaty, you know, synth pop kind of, and again, it's not necessarily a synth pop song, but it has that feel to it. And I don't know, something about that stuff I just love. It's like the modern day ghostly feel of what Johnny Cash used to be able to do with country music. But so yeah, so if I died on a certain day, it kind of works hand in hand. I could hear Junip at my funeral, and I'd be fortunate enough to go to heaven and hear Letters to the Metro on the way. That'd be a pretty good day in my book. Two great songs, you get to go to heaven, and that's a heck of a day right there. So anyway, moving right. Oh, actually, there's one more I want to put in on that, because, and it's not one necessarily that I would actually select, because it's one that I think in most cases is held for, but I also kind of believe that for military personnel or service personnel, and that is the Amazing Grace played with bagpipes. I always think that that's a very haunting and powerful element, but again, I think that that's one that I would only expect if, you know, some reason I went into the military, or, you know, any type of really public service, like, you know, firefighter, policeman, and things like that. I think that's just very, very cool. So that's an awesome funeral song too. And I think I really kind of connect with that one too, not only because it's a great song, but you know, obviously I'm a huge fan of our military personnel. I know, Farley, you mentioned that you would serve too, so let me just kind of say really quick, thank you very much for your service. You know, as much as we're in debt to all of our military personnel for allowing us to live the lives that we live, I have to say thank you for that. But yeah, I'm a huge, a huge World War II. You know, it's always weird to say fan, but I've just always been totally just just amazed by the context of that entire event, just with everything that took place over that, you know, 5+ years. And so I think that's another reason why I connect with that, the Amazing Grace from the bagpipes. You know, it's just something about blah blah blah, something about that war and that conflict where you had just so much of the world engaged with so many different events taking place, showing the worst of mankind, as well as a lot of things showing the best of mankind and just kind of all of that clashing at the level that it did and the sacrifices that people made and everything else. I mean, it just totally floors me. So I think that's another reason why I really connect with that Amazing Grace and bagpipe song. I was at an air show a few years ago and saw a B-52 bomber flying over, and they were doing kind of a salute, and they were playing that Amazing Grace, and it was just kind of like, oh, just emotions just ran like crazy. So yeah, a lot of cool stories about that. And actually, there's one more I want to share really quick, just because I'm kind of rambling about this and I don't have much more to show. I was at a McDonald's, this was about maybe 6-7 months ago, something like that, and I see this old guy walking out of the McDonald's across the parking lot, and he's like 80, 90 years old. You know, he's really hunched over and he has his cane and everything, and there's a guy helping him who looks to be about mid-60s, you know, and then this frail lady kind of walking behind both of them, kind of hunched over, and she was clearly, you know, 80s, you know, maybe upper 80s or something. And as I'm walking by them, I see his hat, and it says, you know, World War II vet, and has some stuff on there, and I was just like, wow, wow. And so I, you know, I walked up beside him. I said, were you in World War II? And he was like, you know, yeah, sure was. And I forgot, I think it was Omaha Beach that he had stormed. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And all I could say to him was just like, you know, I just want to truly thank you for your service. And it was so cool because to this little old frail guy, he's all bent over and everything, and he pulls his head up and just goes, glad to serve, glad to serve. And I was just like, holy cow. It's like, you know, as many people as I meet on a regular basis throughout the course of my life, you know, it's looking at that little 90-pound old frail guy that makes me go, that's one of the baddest asses I've ever met in my entire life right there. It's like, that is a badass. But so that was really, really cool. But that's kind of a big part of why that song also pops up as one of my votes there. But moving right along, let's get into question number 3. You're going back to school. You're in this class. I'm kind of paraphrasing these questions. So, and the teacher's asking you to show an album or song that kind of can give a quick summary of your life, the type of thing. So I actually came up with 2, kind of thinking about the good and the bad, if you will, you know, because we all have ups and downs in our lives and things that we struggle with. So I think a song that really defines the struggles that I've experienced through life, I really connect with, would be off of this album, which is Bruce Springsteen's Tunnel of Love. And it would be the song One Step Up. And I think that is a great song that I think just really captures that element of the struggles in life. And Bruce Springsteen does a great job of that anyway, of kind of capturing the elements of like the average man's struggles. I think he does a really great job with his lyrics with that, which is why I can understand other stuff about him. But yeah, with that song, like, you know, there's different elements, and he's kind of telling the story, but he talks about everything from, you know, how he wakes up one morning and, you know, the house is cold because the furnace isn't working, his car won't start, you know, can't figure out in my relationship why we're having these problems that we keep having over and over, you know, just all just like things that just aren't going right, and he can't figure out why every time I think I'm getting a step ahead, like the lyrics say, 1 step up, 2 steps back. And I think it just really kind of encapsulates that struggle that I think we've all have experienced, but for me it really connects with those moments in life where you're really trying to take something in a certain direction and do the right thing and, you know, make things better, and it's just like, God, why is this just not working out, and blah, blah, blah. One of my favorite lines, and especially with the video, is that he's sitting in the bar and the line says something to the effect of, sitting here in this bar tonight, and all I'm thinking is I'm the same old story, same old wreck, 1 step up, 2 steps back. Another one where he says, when I look at myself, I don't see the man I wanted to be. Somewhere along the line, I slipped off track, 1 step up, 2 steps back. I mean, again, it's just kind of that struggle that I think all of us really kind of experience as we go through life. So that would be, I guess, kind of the struggle side that would, kind of share life. And then I think on the positive side, this may be kind of weird too, but maybe it's not even so much the lyrics as much as the feel that I get from this song, but it would be off of this album by John Cougar Mellencamp, and it's the song "Ain't Even Done with the Night." My interpretation of the lyrics of that song, beyond even just what he's actually saying, is that it really kind of talks about the newness in life, discovering something new, stepping into a place that's strange, stepping into a place that is just not very familiar, but yet there's something so enticing about it. There's something so exciting about it, and you may not know how to do everything, and you may not have all the answers and all the questions, and like he says in the song, like, I don't even know if I'm doing this right, but I ain't even done with the night, which means like, I have no idea necessarily what's going on. I don't get this, but it's exciting, it's new, and I'm moving forward, and I'm experiencing something, and I don't want it to end. And so I think a lot of the positive and great things that I've experienced in my life, that's kind of the way that it's felt. It's been something new that I've kind of dove into and discovered, and you have that excitement that comes about, and so excuse me, again, maybe not so much from a lyric perspective, but from an emotional perspective, I think that song really captures what I would define as my positive elements. And the last one here, this is kind of the bonus question. Like a strange album that someone may not think that you might own or might be shocked to see. And I think those of you that have followed my channel for a while, I'm not sure there's much of anything that would shock you at this point in time. I mean, I'm sitting here showing, Metallica and Junip albums with ABBA playing in the background and Wham albums all across the city. So I'm not sure what would actually shock people anymore with my channel. But I did pick out just kind of 3 quick albums here. And this is really funny because I just saw, Farley, I saw your video last night, and day before yesterday, I was actually playing this album. So it is Nadia's Theme, which, plain and simple, this is the soundtrack to The Young and the Restless, what it boils down to. So I'm not exactly sure that's one people would readily expect to see in my collection, but yeah, I mean, Nadia's Theme is the song that is the theme to Young and the Restless, and I can't help it. I love that song. And not even so much like the keyboard intro that everyone knows is the theme, but if you really go and listen to the strings that come in the latter part of that song, it is a beautiful piece of music. It just really is. And the way the 2 sets of strings play off of each other, I love it. What can I say? I said, literally, I was listening to this day before yesterday. And the reason I was listening to it day before yesterday is because I had a copy that wasn't in perfect condition, and I was at a thrift store or a flea market the other day, and I found a mint copy for like $2. So I bought that to replace my not so mint copy. So yeah, I love it. But that's always been the way that I am. I don't care about genres. I don't care about where music comes from. It's just if I hear a melody and it rings and I want to hear it again, I gotta have it. So another one that I actually listen to on a somewhat regular basis, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Won't You Be My Neighbor? Oh goodness. And of course you guys know this, but I love the intro song to that, and it's a childhood thing. That's Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Very cool. And something else that I've used this album for in the past too is I've rickrolled a few people with this album as well. I call them up at work, answer the phone, their business, blah blah blah, and just start playing "It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood." I think it's the funniest thing ever. Oh man. Okay, and then the last one I want to show, Sesame Street Fever. Again, these are not albums I just have. These are albums I actually spin and listen to. And I've mentioned this in a video in the past, C is for Cookie is the jam. I don't care what anybody says. Cookie Monster was getting his groove on with C is for Cookie. And I love that freaking song. So oh man, I've lost all kind of cool points. I'm gonna take away my brother card and everything. I don't care though. I'm having fun. I'm jamming. That's just all it boils down to. So Sesame Street, Fever, great album. Must get it. C is for Cookie has to be one of your disco favorites. So anyway, there you go, VC. Farley, man, again, congratulations on the 325 subs. I hope you enjoyed the vid, and look forward to your 500 and 1,000 subs contest. All right. Take care, man. We'll talk to you later, VC.